Alright guys, my dear foxlings, so this video is about something that we always have discussed it a lot and talked a lot, but I actually didn't ever watch the video talking about it at all, like about that internal monologue thing that you guys talk about, that a lot of people seem to do not have this voice inside their heads. I'm pretty sure I have mine. I'm pretty sure of that. For me, I still find, even though a lot of people says that, I still find it very hard to believe on this. It's very, it's even kind of terrifying that you think consciously all the time that there is a lot of people, like maybe even half of the population, that maybe are not aware of literally anything. Like they don't think, they don't have an internal voice inside the head saying like, oh, this that you're doing is wrong. This is what you're, they don't have this. They just don't. That is kind of terrifying, I have to admit that. But yeah, that is what this video is all about, and we're gonna see it. The title is 50% do not have an internal dialogue, that voice in your head, by Static in the Attic channel. Yes, I think it's pronounced like that, so don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let's watch it.
What's up, everybody? I've talked on here about the inner dialogue before. They call it inner monologue, that voice inside your head that you talk to yourself with. And let's start off with a little test here. Shut it off, be quiet in your head, and don't say anything.
I know I have this voice. I will not do the test.
Did it work? We'll get back to that in a minute. I came across this and had to talk about it here. I have no inner monologue. I was shocked when I found out others do. I'll never forget the first time I heard my now husband.
Wait, you don't have? You really don't have? Like you're talking about you, really? I didn't hear it very well. I will go back one second.
Talking to him here. I have no inner monologue. I was shocked when I found out others do.
Oh, no. It's that. Oh, I wasn't reading. I have no inner monologue. I was shocked when I found out others do. Wow, that might be really. For the person that read this, I mean, they're probably gonna feel bad, but at the same time, how you feel like terribly bad for nothing have something that you know what is it to have, you know? It's like the person that, is born like missing one arm or maybe blind, you know? It's very different, and that, I had this experience firsthand. It's much terrible, like, it's so much terrible when you lose your eye vision. But because I had my vision my entire life, you know? And I have this experience of nearly losing one of my eyes. And this was so fucking terrifying. So fucking terrifying. Now imagine you, when you like literally is born like without having your eye vision, like blind from both eyes, like you don't know how it is to be able to see. So even though you realize you're not like the others, that you're missing it, it never will be like the same pain, not even close to the someone who had it and lost it, you know? I think it's the same actually with addictions. You're not addicted with something that you never experienced it, but unlike, it's not exactly the same thing, but it's near the same. Like, and after you taste something, it's very likely that you may have or not an addiction to that, but you can do or not. You can have or not have an addiction to that. But every time you taste a new thing in your life, you're giving you the because you got to know that thing. You gave yourself another possibility of having no addiction. You know. It's complicated. I mean, it's not the same thing, but I think it's kind of linked. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm losing the point. You guys know how my brain is. Let's get back to the video. I'm sorry.
I'll never forget the first time I heard my now husband talking to himself in the bathroom. We were only dating at the time, and I was convinced there was something wrong with this guy. Fast forward 10 years of marriage, 2 kids, and several moves, and I've learned to accept this quirk. Really? A quirk? Well, I guess actually vocalizing it out loud is a little strange at times. But
yeah,
for me, doing 30 years of construction and being around hundreds.
But it happened with me sometimes, but I think you do that like all the time is really something very
Hundreds of
weird.
guys, it's not that uncommon for somebody to vocalize their thoughts out loud on a job site. Good, bad, or benign. But it was only recently we discussed it. Do you remember when you used to talk to yourself like all the time? I teased him over our morning coffee. He looked perplexed. Oh, you mean how I just vocalize my inner monologue? Yeah, my mom does that too. It's totally normal. I was floored. Up until that moment, I never knew that some people have a running stream of thoughts being narrated in their head at any given time, most notably my husband and likely some of my in-laws. Meanwhile, the inside of my head is blissfully quiet. Wow, must be nice. But wait till they say. Wait till you hear what they say about all this.
I don't think it is.
I know for a fact that the majority of people have an inner monologue, and that it's damn near impossible to turn it off for the majority of us. So to us, hearing that she doesn't have one, the inside of her head is blissfully quiet, is kind of a crazy thing to find out
for me,
about
it's
somebody.
really impossible.
But if you look at it from their point of view, I guess it would be really weird if you didn't have that. But most of us are thinking at this point, if you don't have an inner monologue, how do you think things through? We'll get back to that in a minute. Research estimates that between 30 to 50% of people have an internal monologue. Absolute baloney. You're trying to tell me that only 1 out of 3 people actually talk to themselves in their heads? No.
Wait, like, right? Like, really? Like, I thought, like, okay, I thought it was like 1 in each 2, but it's very low. It is very low.
Way. But then they say, though, the number of those who report no internal monologue was much lower, somewhere between 5 to 10%. In short, I'm the weird one, the lady with no monologue. Okay, here it says 30 to 50% have an internal monologue. I looked further into it.
I find it so difficult
Google
to
Man
believe,
says
man.
a significant portion of the population, estimated to be between 30 and 50%, do not experience an inner monologue. So I think she was getting her wires crossed with 30 to 50% do not have an internal dialogue.
No,
but
it's
still,
more believable.
that's
but
1 out of 3 people that don't have an internal monologue. It's still baloney. But kept going. Even Psychology Today says about 30 to 50% regularly think to themselves in an internal monologue. And in here, they tell another story, a kind of dumb one, but somebody showed up in a firefighter outfit and somebody said, those Western people, they just think all of the time. And they said, really? Is there any other option? And again, we get the exact same number of 30 to 50%. According to Russell Holbert, a psychologist's research. And that number is a giant game of telephone. Almost everything on the internet now is just a game of telephone. Where Google started off with 1 million search results for anything you put in. Now what you'll get is 20 people all citing the exact same paper from this one guy that is absolutely out of his mind, saying that only 1 out of 3 people actually talk to themselves, up to half. Okay, so let me start with this. I have been to all kinds of guided meditations. I have led all kinds of guided meditations, and we've all talked about this extensively, and I mean,
I tried meditation like 4 or 5 years ago. I was into this bullshit. It's not like bullshit. Like, it fundamentally works for most things, like for a lot of things. It's very real. But it's like, it's kind of dangerous. It's like a lot dangerous, and people don't realize that. Like, spiritually saying, like, it makes you too much vulnerable. So I stopped doing this shit, you know? It's just, I don't think it's something we should be messing with. Now I don't remember anymore because I never like researched things about this at all. Like, I just abandoned it like around 4 or 5 years ago, I just abandoned it because I was like researching a lot of stuff regarding this, and I was practicing, and then some things started to become really dark, about this stuff, like really, really dark. Not with me, nothing like really happened with me when I was doing it, when I was practicing it, But when I realized how much like terrible it can be if you like not have lucky like doing so, and or you do it wrong, or it can be really dangerous for many, many, many different reasons. And so I gave up and stopped doing it. I don't remember anything anymore because how my brain is. I don't remember why exactly the reasons are, but I can remember that when I was researching about it before stop, what led me to stop, like I had plenty of very dangerous reasons to stop doing it. And so I did, yes. And you don't have to trust me, do your own research, and I wouldn't do that. If you're thinking about that, or if you do that, I will tell you to stop. But if you ask me why, I don't remember anymore the reasons that led me to stop, but I remember I researched them and I reached this conclusion. So I would trust the conclusion I reached, even though I don't remember the reason anymore. I just know it's dangerous, and that's enough for me. And I'm not going back to it.
A network of hundreds of people, and on average, it is extremely difficult to turn off that inner voice for more than 10 seconds. How many of you guys were able to go that 5 seconds without saying anything at the beginning of the video? I mean, to all the people that go to meditation classes, it would be an extreme accomplishment if you could make it for 10 minutes or a minute even without saying anything in your head. So that must be nice not to ever have it, I mean, we'll see in the comments here, but I would say maybe 1 out of 1,000 people.
Yeah, as as someone who had the practice to do it, I can say that at least for me, it was pretty much impossible most of the times. But sometimes I really did that. I was able, like, not to stop, but like to deal with it, like to push away, to see it from outside. I don't know. Like if the thoughts weren't mine, it's more like that when you can turn off. It's the most far I could go. And yeah, it's I will not go much into that because it's not the video is about. So let's
People
continue.
doesn't have it. I've only heard of one person in my life that doesn't have it, but if you don't have an internal monologue, say so down in the comments, and I'd say it's going to be less than.
I can assure that everyone around me, my parents, at least I believe all of them have it. But I don't know. I'm talking at least about my parents and my brother, maybe. Yeah, I think my brother has too. But my neighbors, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure. I'm pretty sure that some of them don't have it.
10 people probably get around 10,000 views here. But I've only heard of one person in my life that I definitely didn't have one. It was a lady that my mom worked with, and she was sitting there, and the girl was looking at her and said, "You're always thinking, aren't you?" I mean, my mom was a nurse, so she's doing her job basically just sitting there, but "You're always thinking, aren't you?" And she said, "Well, yeah, aren't you?" She said, "No." Just, wow, that's amazing to me. A lot of us wish we could turn it off like that. I mean, that was one of the big things about backpacking to me out west in the mountains. I used to tell everybody I like to walk until I realize I'm just walking, because usually for about the first 5 hours of the trip, my mind's just going blah, 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 blah. And I have to.
If I would bring this to I mean, it's just my opinion, okay? It's all my conclusion here. Nothing that I'm gonna say right now. It's something that I read somewhere. It's just something that I thought just here, like being Christian, or even though I always make sure to say that I'm not a good example of Christian. And because I don't want people like following me in that sense, because I'm not the best example of a Christian you're gonna find out there. I mean, but if you're gonna start to think like that, like probably it's gonna be very, very hard, way more than you think. I'll find the good examples of Christianity there, but I would say let me say something. It's not about it at all. There is the Holy Spirit, and for me, these inner thoughts I have, for me as a Christian, I think this comes from Holy Spirit. And I remember that in Revelation, there's like, in the last days, in the final days, the Holy Spirit will not be in everyone, like it was back then and on the past. Like the Holy Spirit will be not be. Oh my God, will be not be in everyone. Like I don't remember now the. I'm also having difficulty to explain because it's in English. No, I'm sorry, but for me it's kind of very surprising because if you think like that, so if you think like in the chain of thoughts that I had just now, it really looks like the Revelation book, the Apocalypse book, like predicted all of this. Even this, even this is there. If you think the same way as I think, like considering that these inner thoughts they come from the Holy Spirit, because these inner thoughts is that voice, the little voice that I feel inside my head when you're like when you are planning to see if something's a good decision or not, and like you have this inner monologue inside of you, like, oh, this is right. No, I think it shouldn't be like that. No, I maybe just such a thing, and etc. And for me, this is the Holy Spirit as well. For me, this is it. And also, like, I think the best side you have is everything you do something bad, like everything you do something like that is wrong. You feel that this voice telling you, inside your head. For me, this is also the Holy Spirit, So these inner thoughts that I think. So if you take that, like, but okay, you guys, I know I don't even know if half of you guys here are Christians. If I don't know the numbers, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of here are not Christians. So let's continue the video and continue. I just wanted to bring my perspective about it. I just no one told me that. I didn't saw this anywhere. Okay, I just kind of linked to one thing to another, using my logic. I don't know if it's right or wrong, okay?
Physically beat myself down to get that thing to shut up. I mean, it's like the Kung Fu priest. They do hours of grueling exercises all day to help calm their mind down. And, that's one thing I don't think most people realize about exercise is you will beat yourself down to the point where you're not chattering near as much in your head, and it's giving you a mental break as well as a physical boost. But here's what I think is going on with these numbers is I think 30 to 50% of people don't realize they talk to themselves, because I do know that a lot of people haven't ever thought about it. But then once you bring it to their attention, they're like, oh yeah, I do talk to myself all the time. You remember how earlier it said
I
only
realized
5
that
to 10%
many
just flat out
already.
don't have an internal monologue.
But what I didn't realize is that the others don't have it. This is something kind of terrifying for me, This really is like, you're talking to someone, like, for me, it's like if that person doesn't have it, it feels like almost like if they are a psychopath, I don't know. I don't want to actually say that, but I mean, come on. I don't know. I know nothing, okay? But imagine you talking with a person that literally doesn't know, like they might know what is right or wrong because they weren't taught to. Like, but consciously they don't feel it. They don't have this, because they don't have this voice. They don't. It's just a blank inside, like it's kind of terrifying to think of that to maybe around a lot of person like this. I think this kind of person are the ones like for no reason. Sometimes they just go out there and grab a knife and come back and stab someone out of nothing, just for it's very simple stuff. For me, are people like this. Probably. I don't know. Okay, I don't
They
know.
realize they don't have one, where a lot of other people don't realize that they have one. And this is where the internet and academia has lost its mind, is one person publishes this and now it's all over the internet as a gospel fact. I can already tell you, you can look at the comments. There's no way 30 to 50% of people don't talk to themselves. At least not if you were brought up in a first world country with an education. I mean, if you grew up as a rural farmer,
We don't even know if education is related to this to begin with. We don't know that.
in China or a goat herder out in the plains somewhere, then you probably
I don't
don't
think it
have
is.
one. It's definitely a trained condition. And it kind of goes back to language and spells and thought control. But if you got a Western education, then you were brought up to think in terms of language from the get. And this is something I've actually considered before quite a few times, is I realize with some things I think in terms of language, but then with other things I think in form of pictures and just pure thought, I guess. But the majority of what I commit to long-term memory is in the form of picture, basically. It's almost like a hieroglyph in my mind. I mean, for example, if I think of
I do that too, but I have too much difficulty in see, like, in visualize pictures in my head, you know. For me, it's more like voice text, you know, like, I don't even know if it's voice, you know, it's more like a voice because I mean, and sometimes I even happen to literally be text, but not images of things that mean things, you know, I don't know how to
the
explain.
Cathars and the Church of Rome going in and wiping all of them out, massacring hundreds of thousands, and the dude saying, off them all, God will know his own. That's actually all summed up with this one picture right here, and this is the specific picture that I have in my head when I think of all that. And then I kind of recall the whole scenario. Another thing, last week I was trying to remember the name of this.
I don't do this.
I picture the concept very easily in my mind, but it took me a minute to remember the name of it. But it's isostatic rebound. I couldn't remember isostatic pressure.
I mean, I know I do this, but not that consciously like he does. Like, he knows that when he looks at that photo, all that happens. I realize that I do this a lot of times, but in a more unconscious level, you know, like, I picture something, like, I think everyone does that in regards of image, like, that's why, like, we link images with the words, for example. Our brain is trained to that. Everyone's brain is trained to that when you learn a language. And I know that because I read, because I like to learn language, I read a lot of books, like how our brains acquire language and etc. And that's why I know how it is. And I think everyone does that, even the people who doesn't have these inner thoughts. And that's why I think it's not related. This is one more reason that I just thought now that it might not be related to what you're saying. But yeah, I mean, it's fine. We try to bring up reasons and all. That's how you discover new things. But I don't think they are linked at all. Like, higher education is linked to having or not having inner thoughts, like someone that never studied at all. Like, I don't think it happens.
Pressure, what is it? And it's where you have.
I think it's more of something that you have or not since you was born.
Millions of pounds of glacial ice pushing down, and then when it melts, the ground will lift up. But for me, it's easier to remember just with a picture kind of like this. I just kind of picture the Colorado Plateau. So I've actually known for a long time that it's easy to remember complex things through like a pictographic kind of system. I've never really set out to memorize facts and names. But trying to shut off the internal dialogue and think without
you should
it
try out kind
is something that I practice all the time at work. We just call it mindfulness meditation. It's just being mindful of what you're doing in the moment. You're nowhere else. You're just in the zone. And, you know, with construction, I've got everything pictured in my head six steps out. You know, it'll take me till tomorrow to get to what I've got in my head by 8 a.m., you know? But one of the things I do to shut off that internal dialogue is just put my headphones in and listen to something else and not read along with it. A lot of times when you're listening to something, you're actually repeating it in your head as well. I'm still paying attention and I know what's going on, but I'm not running an internal dialogue to do it. And simultaneously, I'm going through the building process that I'm working on. One thing I've noticed about, say I've got a bunch of blocks to cut, and you can easily remember two numbers with fractions, 10 3/8, 5 7/8. And so I'll commit that to memory using my internal dialogue, but then you got another one you need to cut, and I'll remember that one as a picture. So now I've got 10 3/8, 5 7/8, and then I'm picturing the last thing I saw on my tape measure at 16 1/2. So now I've got three numbers, two committed through dialogue, one through picture. So I know I'm completely nerding out here.
I thought we would discuss more about what this implies for you to have or not have this inner dialogue, I think we did not, you didn't talk about this very much on the video. I mean, like, no actual, like nothing literally on the video was about it because people told me that there's a lot of implications in you not having like this voice in your head, this inner thoughts, there's a lot of implications in what you do in your life. And I wanted to see that on this video, but it doesn't seem that this video, I mean, it didn't actually talk about that. Talked about it.
But it is interesting how we actually operate. I've always been fascinated about what this realm is and how we operate in it. But I can only assume that if you don't have an internal monologue to keep track of things, then you are just picturing things in your head, whether you realize you're doing it or not. Like I said earlier, a lot of people don't realize how they think at all. And usually you're flipping through thoughts so fast that you don't even realize it. It's just one thought to the next to the next. Anyway, I thought that was interesting, and we'll see down in the comments below, but I'm guessing there's only a handful of people that don't have an internal monologue. And you should consider yourself lucky if you don't, because most of us have a three-ring circus going on in our head. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll catch you on the next one.
Before we go any further, I want to take this brief moment here to thank all of you, my patrons, that support my work here on YouTube, and especially my 5-tail fox tier member, Zalost, and my 3-tail fox tier members, Heath Rowell, Fenny Sylvy, and Radmuiel, for the incredible support to my work. Thank you very, very much. You guys are amazing. Also, thanks to everyone who donated to me through Tron and to all of my YouTube members. You can support this channel live and grow with just $5 a month and gain access to many perks. This is less than a burrito. Check out my Patreon. Link is in the description below. I can see some advantages for not having one, but I think it's better having than not. Okay, but it's just my opinion. Okay, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check the links below. Patreon, Discord, go find Tron. Please, please, please support me so I can get the fuck out of this terrible country. But if you do, please do through Ko-Fi, Patreon, or Tron, because YouTube just like almost the entire donation you're gonna do will be housed by YouTube and US government, and barely nothing will come to me. So if you really wanna try to help me, use one of those platforms I said before, and I'm very grateful for everyone who done so. I'm really needy. I really need to save as fast as possible, because things here in my country are very, very, very weird and getting way, way worse very fast here. And I really don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. It's how we are living here nowadays. The people who realize the bullshits that are happening here, because it's still that plate of people is always masses are stupid, and there is still a lot of people who not realize they think that is going on here. But yeah, for people like me that see the situation every day, every new day, it's like There is a lot of anxiety on me every single day when I'm gonna see the news in my country, because every day a new terrible thing happens, you know. I don't know how to describe really, just by using that. It's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. Yeah, thank you all, and I see you all in the next one. Bye.